Disrespect is something we all face, at work, in relationships, even with strangers. The real test isn't whether it happens, but how you respond when it does, because your response determines whether you keep your power or give it away. Today, let's talk about 5 things you should never do when someone disrespects you. When someone disrespects you, the first instinct most people have is to fire back, to snap, to defend, to prove that they can't be walked over. And that's normal. It's human. But here's the problem: the moment you let your emotions run the show, you've already lost the upper hand. Think about it. If someone can push your buttons and instantly get a reaction, they're the ones in control. They set the tone, and you just follow it. Disrespect is bait. It's designed, whether intentionally or not, to pull you into a fight that isn't worth your time. And when you bite, you hand over your power. You give the other person the satisfaction of knowing they got to you. They see the anger in your voice, the change in your face, the way your calm disappears. And that's exactly what fuels them. But the truth is, calm is strength. When you don't react emotionally, you're not being weak. You're showing that you can't be rattled. You're showing that your self-control is bigger than their attempt to shake you. That's where real confidence lies. Not in shouting, not in clapping back, but in holding your ground with composure. Now, let me be clear. Not reacting emotionally doesn't mean you ignore disrespect. It doesn't mean you sit there and let people trample over you. It means you choose your response instead of letting your emotions choose it for you. There's a difference. A calm response is a chosen response. It comes from a place of clarity, not chaos. When you pause before reacting, you buy yourself time. Time to think about what was actually said. Time to decide whether it even deserves a response. Time to measure your words so that when you do speak, your voice carries weight. Because people don't remember the loudest person in the room. They remember the one who spoke with calm authority. Here's the other thing: reacting emotionally can damage more than just that moment. You can say things you don't mean. You can burn bridges. You can come across as unprofessional or unstable. And later, when the heat of the moment is gone, you're left with regret. But when you stay calm, you protect your reputation, your relationships, and most importantly, your peace of mind. It's not easy. It takes practice to hold back the first rush of anger. But every time you do it, you're training yourself to stay grounded no matter what's thrown your way. And that's a skill that will serve you in every area of life, at work, in your friendships, in your family, even with complete strangers. So the next time someone disrespects you, remember this: they want a reaction. Don't give them one. Give them calm instead, because calm is power. Calm is control. And calm always wins in the end. When someone disrespects you, the easiest thing to do is make it about you. To hear their words and think, they must be right about me. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I did something wrong. And that's exactly the trap you can't fall into. Because here's the truth: most of the time, disrespect has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. People project. They project their insecurities, their frustrations, their bad day, their lack of self-control. And you just happen to be the closest target in the moment. If you take their words personally, you're carrying a weight that was never yours to hold. Think about it like this: if someone hands you trash, you don't have to carry it around. you can set it down. But when you take disrespect as a reflection of your worth, you're picking up garbage that belongs to them. This is where perspective matters. If a stranger on the street yelled something cruel at you, you'd probably brush it off. You'd think, they don't even know me. But when it's a coworker, a friend, or someone close to you, it feels heavier. That's because you've given their opinion value. But here's the key. Just because someone is close doesn't mean they're correct. Their disrespect still says more about who they are than who you are. Not taking it personally is about protecting your self-image. It's about reminding yourself, I know who I am. I know what I stand for, and no one else gets to define that. When you anchor yourself in that mindset, disrespect bounces off instead of sinking in, and the people who throw it, they realize it doesn't work on you. Now, some people will hear this and think it means ignoring all feedback. That's not what I'm saying. There's a difference between constructive criticism and disrespect. Feedback is meant to help you grow. Disrespect is meant to tear you down. Learn to tell the difference. If there's truth in what someone says, take the lesson and leave the venom. But if it's just venom, don't swallow it. The danger of taking things personally is that it steals your peace twice. First, in the moment, when you feel the sting of their words, and second, later on, when you replay it over and over in your mind, giving their voice more power than it ever deserved. That's how people live in your head rent-free, and that's why you can't let them in. Instead, shift the question from, why did they say that about me? What does this say about them? Because once you do, you stop internalizing and start observing. You move from being the target to being the one in control. At the end of the day, disrespect is a mirror. It reflects the person throwing it, not the person receiving it. And when you stop taking it personally, you stop carrying their reflection as your own. You stay grounded in your worth, and that's something no amount of disrespect can touch. When someone disrespects you, the urge to strike back can be overwhelming. You want to put them in their place, to show that you're not someone to mess with. Maybe you think a sharper insult or a louder voice will shut them down. But here's the truth. When you try to one-up someone who disrespects you, you're not defending yourself. You're lowering yourself. You're stepping into the mud with them, and once you're both dirty, no one can tell the difference between who started it and who responded. The problem with trying to match disrespect is that it becomes a cycle. They take a shot at you, you take one back, and suddenly it's a competition to see who can be crueler. And in that cycle, no one wins. You may think you've gained respect by clapping back, but what you've really done is proven that they can control your behavior. They pulled you into a game you never needed to play. Think about how much power you give away when you let someone drag you into a back and forth battle. They're no longer just the one who disrespected you. They've now successfully dictated your actions, your words, even your tone. That's not strength, that's surrender. True strength is refusing to play their game at all. This doesn't mean you stay silent or let yourself be walked over. It means you choose a response that's rooted in dignity, not pettiness. It means you stay above the fray because that's where your credibility and respect live. For example, if someone insults you in front of others, firing back with an insult of your own might feel good for a second, but it leaves an impression on everyone watching. They don't see two people standing up for themselves. They see two people acting out of anger. But if you respond with calm, with clarity, and without venom, you stand out. You prove you can handle heat without losing control. And that's unforgettable. The urge to one-up someone comes from ego. It's the part of you that wants revenge, that wants to prove a point. But ego rarely makes wise decisions. It makes quick ones, ones that you regret later. How many times have you said something in anger only to replay it in your mind, wishing you'd stayed quiet or chosen your words differently? That's what happens when ego takes the wheel. When you resist the urge to one-up, you protect more than your reputation, you protect your peace. You walk away knowing you didn't let someone else's bad behavior rewrite your character. You stayed true to yourself, even in the face of disrespect. And that's the real victory. So the next time someone disrespects you, remember, you don't win by matching their tone, their insult, or their attitude. You win by showing them that nothing they say can pull you off your level. You're not here to compete with their disrespect. You're here to rise above it. And rising above always leaves the deepest impact. When someone disrespects you, silence can be a powerful response, but only if it comes from strength, not fear. There's a big difference between choosing silence because you're above the drama and staying silent because you're too afraid to speak up. And if you let fear dictate your silence, you're not protecting yourself. You're training people to believe they can treat you however they want. Here's the danger with silence rooted in fear: it creates a pattern. The first time someone crosses a line and you say nothing, they think it's acceptable. The second time, they push a little further, and before long, your silence becomes permission. You've essentially told them, without words, it's okay to disrespect me. And once that pattern is set, it's much harder to break. Speaking up doesn't mean yelling. It doesn't mean matching their disrespect. It means calmly, clearly, and firmly setting a boundary. It's saying, that's not acceptable, or I'm not going to allow you to speak to me that way. Notice the difference. You're not attacking them, you're protecting yourself. That's the power of boundaries. They communicate respect, not just for others, but for yourself. Some people stay silent because they don't want to make the situation worse. They're afraid that pushing back will lead to conflict. But conflict isn't always the enemy. Disrespect is. By staying silent out of fear, you're avoiding conflict in the moment, but inviting more of it in the future. You're trading temporary comfort for long-term frustration. And that's not a trade you want to make. There's also the matter of self-respect. Every time you let someone talk down to you without saying a word, a little part of you knows you should have spoken up. You carry that with you. You replay it in your head, wishing you had the courage to stand your ground. And the more it happens, the heavier that weight becomes. Speaking up is not just about teaching others how to treat you. It's about proving to yourself that you're worthy of respect. Now, let's be real. Speaking up takes courage, especially if the person disrespecting you is in a position of authority. A boss, a teacher, or even a family member. But courage doesn't mean you're not afraid. It means you don't let the fear stop you. And once you push through that fear once, the next time gets easier. You start to realize that your voice matters, that you have the right to demand respect. Silence can be golden, but not when it costs you your dignity. The key is choosing silence when it serves you, not when it suffocates you. So, when someone disrespects you, ask yourself, am I quiet because I'm in control, or am I quiet because I'm scared? If it's fear, then it's time to speak, because respect starts with the words you allow and the boundaries you set. And if you don't defend your own dignity, no one else will. When someone disrespects you, it cuts deep. The sting of their words or actions doesn't just disappear overnight. You replay it in your head, thinking of what you could have said, what you should have done. And before you know it, you're carrying the weight of that moment long after it's over. That's what resentment does. It chains you to the past and keeps you reliving the disrespect again and again. But here's the hard truth. Holding on to resentment doesn't punish them. It punishes you. Think about it. Most of the time, the person who disrespected you has moved on. They may not even remember what they said. Meanwhile, you're still thinking about it, losing sleep, feeling your chest tighten every time their name comes up. That's the cost of resentment. It steals your peace in silence, little by little, day after day. Letting go doesn't mean what they did was okay. It doesn't excuse their behavior. It simply means you refuse to give them continued power over your life. Resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to get sick. It doesn't work. It only eats away at you from the inside. The reason it's so tempting to hold on to resentment is because it feels like control. We think, if I stay angry, I'll never forget. If I stay bitter, I'll protect myself. But resentment doesn't protect you. It traps you. You become defined by the very thing you wanted freedom from. Instead of moving forward, you stay stuck in that same moment of disrespect as if it's happening all over again. Forgiveness is often misunderstood here. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciling. It doesn't mean letting that person back into your life. Forgiveness means you're done carrying what they gave you. You release it so you can live free, because your peace of mind is more valuable than holding a grudge. And here's the other danger of resentment: it spreads. If you don't let it go, it starts to leak into other parts of your life. You become more guarded, less trusting, quicker to assume bad intentions. Relationships suffer. Your outlook darkens. Suddenly, you're not just protecting yourself from the person who disrespected you. You're blocking yourself off from everyone. That's how resentment robs you twice, first in the moment, then in your future. Letting go is not easy. It takes strength to look at someone who wronged you and say, "You don't get to live in my head anymore." But that's exactly what freedom is. Choosing peace over poison. Choosing to carry lessons instead of grudges. Choosing to move forward without dragging the past behind you. So, when someone disrespects you, don't give them the satisfaction of taking more than they already have. Don't let resentment keep you chained to their actions. Release it, not for their sake, but for yours. Because when you let go, you take back control, and that's the real victory: living unbothered, at peace, and free. When someone disrespects you, it's easy to feel like the rules change. You think, if they cross the line, why shouldn't I? The temptation is to lower your standards to match theirs, to respond the way they did, to mirror their disrespect, to show them you can play just as dirty. But here's the danger: the moment you abandon your standards, You've allowed their behavior to rewrite who you are. And that's giving them far too much power. Your standards are more than just personal rules. They're the foundation of your character. They define how you carry yourself, how you treat others, and how you respond under pressure. And the true test of character isn't when everything is calm and respectful. It's when someone pushes your limits. That's when you find out whether your values are real or just words you use when life is easy. When you lose your standards, you trade short-term satisfaction for long-term regret. Sure, clapping back with the same level of disrespect might feel good in the moment. It scratches the itch of revenge. But later, when you replay that moment, you realize you became someone you didn't want to be. You stooped lower than you knew you should, and that regret lingers far longer than the satisfaction of getting even. Keeping your standards doesn't mean tolerating bad behavior. It means addressing it without abandoning your principles. It's saying, I don't accept this, while still standing tall in how you deliver that message. Because when the dust settles, people remember not just what was said, but how it was said. And maintaining your standards shows that even in the face of disrespect, you don't bend your integrity. There's also another angle here people are always watching. Whether it's coworkers, friends, or even strangers, they notice how you handle situations. If you match disrespect with disrespect, you might win the moment, but you lose credibility. But if you stay true to your standards, you gain respect, even from people who weren't directly involved. You show consistency, you show discipline, and that earns more weight than any insult ever could. It's also about self-respect. You can't demand respect from others if you're willing to throw away your own values at the first sign of conflict. Standards aren't for convenience. They're for moments of challenge. They protect you from becoming reactive, from letting someone else dictate your behavior. Because at the end of the day, your standards are about you, not them. So when someone disrespects you, the real question is, are you going to let them pull you down to their level, or are you going to stay rooted in yours? Every time you choose your standards over your anger, you reinforce who you are. You remind yourself that no matter what they do, you won't be moved from your foundation. Disrespect is temporary. Character is permanent. Don't let a moment of pain erase years of principle. Hold your standards close, because in the end, that's what keeps you standing tall when others try to drag you low. At the end of the day, disrespect will come. It's part of life, but how you handle it determines whether you give away your power or keep it. Don't react emotionally. Don't take it personally. Don't try to one-up them. Don't stay silent out of fear. Don't hold on to resentment, and don't lose your standards. Each one of these choices is a reminder that you're in control of yourself, even if you can't control others. Respect isn't something you beg for. It's something you set the tone for by the way you carry yourself. And when you choose calm, confidence, and boundaries over anger, bitterness, or revenge, you prove that no one's disrespect is strong enough to shake who you are. That's real strength.